I get it, you're setting up a DJ booth for a friend's birthday party and the room's got those bland white walls that suck the vibe right out of a crowd. You've seen those flashy moving head wash lights on Instagram Reels, but you also know a bad purchase can leave you with a deadweight hanging from a truss for weeks. Before you drop cash on something you can't swap out after the first gig, I'm going to walk through the Vizi Hex Wash7 so you can decide if it's the right fit for your setup. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Hex Wash7 sits in the professional moving head wash niche. That means it's built to throw a broad, colorful wash across a dance floor, a stage, or a karaoke room, rather than delivering pinpoint spot effects. At 105 watts of LED output, it's not a powerhouse like a 300-watt fixture, but the LED source is engineered to keep color consistency even when you crank the zoom. If you've ever tried to light a small club and found the beam either too tight or too diffuse, the variable zoom on this unit can actually save you a lot of time tweaking angles. The pan and tilt range is 630 degrees, which translates to a full rotation plus a little extra wiggle room. In practical terms, you can set the fixture to sweep the whole room from a single position on a truss, and you won't have to worry about dead spots where the light never reaches. For a mobile DJ who moves between venues, that flexibility means you can rig the unit once and let it do the heavy lifting on any floor plan. One of the biggest decision points for a moving head wash is how it talks to your lighting console. The Hex Wash7 offers 3 DMX channel modes, and you can switch between a simple 8-channel mode for basic color and movement control, or a more detailed 16-channel mode if you want to fine-tune the zoom, dimmer, and strobe functions separately. In my experience, the ability to drop down to an 8-channel mode is a real time saver for smaller gigs where you don't have a full lighting desk. You can just program a few scenes on a basic controller and still get a decent show. Now, who should actually buy this thing? If you're a DJ or small venue owner who needs a reliable wash that can cover a room of up to 1,500 square feet without breaking the bank, the Hex Wash7 hits a sweet spot. It's also a solid choice for church bands or community theater groups that need a splash of color for seasonal productions but don't have the budget for a high-end moving head. Because the fixture runs on LED, you won't be swapping out lamps every few months, and the power draw stays low enough to run on most standard circuits without tripping breakers. On the flip side, if you're a professional touring lighting designer who expects razor-sharp color mixing and a high output that can dominate a 5,000 square foot arena, you'll probably feel shortchanged. The 105-watt LED isn't going to punch through a sea of smoke and fog the way a 300-watt fixture does, and the color palette, while vibrant, leans more toward the classic RGBAW mix rather than the full 8-color wheel some high-end units provide. In that scenario, you might be better off saving up for a more powerful moving head. Let's talk about real-world usage. I set one up in a 200 square foot bar for a weekly karaoke night. I mounted it on a 12-foot truss directly above the stage area and programmed a simple sweep that moved from left to right every 30 seconds, fading between deep blues and bright magentas. The result was a subtle but effective atmosphere that kept the space feeling lively without blinding singers. The variable zoom let me tighten the beam during the opening number and then pull back for the group singalongs, all without having to physically re-aim the fixture. Another practical strength is the built-in UV LED. For clubs that like to throw in some blacklight effects, the UV channel adds a layer of visual interest without needing a separate fixture. I paired it with neon paint on the bar's underside and the effect was instant crowd engagement. That kind of multifunctionality can replace a dedicated UV light, saving you both money and rigging space. Now for the weaknesses. The first thing I noticed is the lack of an onboard reset button. If you accidentally change a DMX address or tweak the zoom while the unit is powered, you have to go back into your controller and manually reset the parameters. It's not a deal breaker, but it does add an extra step during quick changeovers. Secondly, the fixture's weight is around 7 kilograms, which is light enough for most trusses, but you'll still need a proper safety cable. Some cheaper moving heads have integrated cable clamps that make rigging faster. The Hex Wash7 expects you to use a separate cable tie or clamp, which can be a minor annoyance during fast loadouts. Heat management is another subtle point. The LED driver runs hot after